In this video we're going to cover off the first day of our Tasmania trip, and just to kick off, those who haven't been on the Spirit before, this is just a little bit of footage, a few seconds of footage just coming onto the Spirit. The first time we've actually done it from Geelong, and yeah, the people who bring you on are always very good. They throw a few jokes about tying down the bikes and things like that, but yeah, they know what they're doing. Each time we've left the Spirit in Devonport, we've ridden anti-clockwise towards Stanley, and we did the same again heading for the Tarkine Drive. We were off the Spirit by 7 AM, and our first stop was Penguin, where we had a bit of breakfast at their very good bakery there. We then rode on to Boat Harbour Beach, which is considered by some as Tasmania's prettiest beach, and it was quite nice. The Tarkine Drive is a great ride. It starts and ends at Smithton, and we chose to do it again in the clockwise direction. We fuel up at the Smithton servo, grab a few snacks to take for the trip, and then you're practically onto the Tarkine Drive on Trowotta Road. It's pretty good riding right from the start, and the Tarkine Drive is actually made up of lots of pieces of road. Sometimes it's the same stretch of bitumen which changes names, but it's basically the loop which starts at Smithton and goes around towards the edge of the world and then back again in whichever direction you go to do it, back to Smithton. So it's a loop that they've actually done for tourism. Some of the riding and the roads are so good over in Tassy that I always wonder when they're looking at their Tourism Tasmania thoughts, they are thinking of motorcycles as well all the way. I didn't have the external microphone plugged into the Media Mod at this stage. The GoPro was just using the Media Mod microphone, so it was picking up a lot of noise. Yeah, so a lot of this early riding is the road's a good surface, passes through a few farmlands and even a couple of houses, a business or two, and not long until we make this Reed's Road turn, because we were heading for the Trowotta Arch, and this is a little bit of dirt. There wasn't much dirt today. Most of this riding today is all on bitumen, but there's a few kilometres in and out to go and visit the Trowotta Arch, and I would totally recommend this. It's very easy dirt, you can see, and it was relatively busy as well. In actual fact, it's almost the last time we saw people for a number of hours after this little stop. So yeah, I would totally recommend this. You can see from the surface it was easy. The walk to the arch is beautiful. Really loved walking through the ferns, the fresh air. And when we got there, it was a little bit busy, so we sort of did a quick snap of a photo. You can't see it, but there's so many people trying to get close and that, so it wasn't a great time to be going. Look, it was the 4th of January, so it was a pretty busy time. There's a busload of people going. So yeah, we were in and out and really liked that, and back onto the bitumen part of the Tarkine Drive, and away you go. A bit potholey we found. This was definitely new potholes. We hadn't seen these in our last ride here. Yeah, so this poorer surface lasted until around the Tayatea Bridge. So this is the Tayatea Bridge, one of the tourism sites on the map. There's quite a lot of maps and promotional information about this Tarkine Drive that you can download and get information of where the stops are and things like that. So that's definitely worthwhile chasing up from Tourism Tasmania. a little after the Tayatea Bridge. The surface is very coarse, it's very good. In a lot of the places it's wider, not always, but it's just, this is where the riding's at its best in terms of non-stop sweepers and a few tight turns every now and then, but just a wonderful, relaxing ride for quite some time from here. I'd still suggest to be very cautious on the bends. We didn't see maybe more than two more cars or four-wheel drives for the rest of this loop right round to the edge of the world. But if there is one on the wrong side of the road, you just got to be thinking of about that all the time. I mentioned a little earlier that the road name changes quite a few times, and that's generally around a landmark of some sort. So from a particular landmark, the road might then be renamed to do with that. But by now, we've come right round to Rapid River. You can see there by the map outs, the twisties are there. In actual fact, I didn't film too many of them, which was a bit of a shame, but you know, you don't want to be sitting through hours of riding. We stopped in at the Sumac Lookout, mainly to have a snack and a drink, but you know, wandered down to the lookout. That's what you get. It's a bit of a river in a valley, lots of trees, and then back on the road again. So back onto the twisties, and the twisties certainly continued on from there. It was just fantastic. This loop from that Shell petrol station back at Smithton right round and back to the Shell petrol station is right on 200 kilometres. Not too far after the Sumac Lookout is this bridge, the Tayatea Bridge, which takes you back to Smithton if you want to go straight back there, and a straight roads through Roger River. Towards the western roads of the Tarkine Drive, you'll notice these white painted rumble strips. Yeah, they're designed for the vehicles travelling to make noise, rumbling noise, to protect wildlife and make sure that wildlife hear cars coming and don't try and cross roads in front of them. So yeah, that's an innovative way to try and prevent wildlife from being run into. Just approaching our next major landmark, it's Norfolk Road, which is the Western Explorer, the dirt road, all dirt road that goes down to Corinna and the Pyman Ferry there. That's our agenda for tomorrow, the next day, so that's our day 2 ride, which we're deeply looking forward to. Another great feature of the Tarkine Drive is the continuously changing environment that you're in. Now we seem to be riding through taller tree forests, and yeah, look, but the one thing that is consistent is the road surface is great, and a lot of sweepers. As I mentioned before, there are tight corners as well, but yeah, just continuously enjoyable riding. When you make the right-hand turn onto Tama Road, the road basically continues on, but you're now heading north, following the western coast of Tasmania, so not far past the trees there on the left, there is a coastline, and we're going to get closer to that coastline. As you come into Arthur River, there's some difficult to read signage which actually points you to the edge of the world. It's about 1 kilometre into the edge of the world car park, and about 750 metres of that is unsealed. Very, very easy gravel. This is a pretty well-known tourist spot. So there was a few people here. One car was there which was towing a van which was broken down, just waiting for support. But very, very worthwhile stop, that's for sure. The name Edge of the World come from this poem written about Arthur River and the coastline. And it's supposedly about how windy it is, and it gets the roaring 40s, and in a straight line the nearest land is all the way to Argentina. There's still a few good twisties to ride back to Stanley, but there's a compulsory ride around the historic area which you need to do when you go to Stanley to get the #1 photo shot. However, there is an advantage in riding in the other direction so that the bike is actually pointing in the right way when you get to the Highfield Lookout. But this is just a stunning view of the Nut and the beach that leads up to Stanley, and you can see the bay on the other side of the Nut. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. We didn't walk the Nut on this visit. We'd done it on previous trips, but we stayed at the Stanley Hotel, which was okay, and went for a bigger walk after dinner, which included the Penguin Viewing Trail.